everybody. I am here with Toy Pop. I actually did a completion of this game 3 years ago for the Coin-Op Classic Marathon, somehow. I'm bringing it back because there's been a few, not necessarily discoveries, but I have implemented a few strategies that should have some effect on the run. We'll see. So here's all my settings. I'm playing on the PlayStation 1 Namco Museum Volume 1 port. I would have liked to have played this on MAME, but it just controls better on this version. Before I get started, I'm going to reiterate this. This game, especially our 1cc, is extremely un-marathon safe. So this is either going to go amazingly or it's going to be an absolute train wreck. Either way, we're here to have a good time, so let's play some video games. So let's just see what this game does, starting now. So, at first glance, Toy Pop is a very simplistic game. You're basically running around each box, collecting 4 hearts to open a door, and there's a bunch of enemies you have to fight. The thing that makes Toy Pop interesting, in a way, is that each enemy requires a different weapon to defeat. So here you're introduced to the two most basic enemies, the Hide-Eye, which are the soldiers, and the Cars, which are the cars. The Hide-Eye can actually be killed with just about any weapon, including the default weapon, which is just the pellet. But the Cars require the wheel in order to be killed. And pretty much every enemy in the game behaves like that. But this is a very easy first level, you know, kind of gets you into the game. Yeah, I think I've collected everything I need. So I'm actually going to be waiting at the door here for 42 seconds, and I think that was good. So there are special items in this game, and one thing that I didn't know until after my 2021 run of this is that you can actually manipulate special items by having your score be certain values when you end a stage. So after every stage, the game basically sums up the tens and 100s digits of your score, and if the sum of those numbers is either 3 or 13, you'll get a fork to appear on the next level. And the fork turns all enemies on screen into 300-point capes. And so if you're going for a high score in this game, you want to manipulate as many of those as possible. And the reason why I'm looking at my phone between every stage is because it's kind of hard to do a bunch of mental math in your head. After, like, when you have to also get to consider the fact that you're playing and stuff. So it's much easier to just look at a table with all the scores written down so you know what time to exit the stage on. So here I'm exiting on 50, so it says here I'll need to wait for 30 seconds. There is a little bit of risk to this strategy, though, because when you clear all the enemies and hearts in a stage, the walls will begin to close in on you. So you really have to be quick with it. So here's box 3. This introduces one of the most difficult enemies in the game to outmaneuver. These are the Dum-Dums. They're the little blue balloon things. They have the ability to just pass over walls. So they are definitely they are probably the most deadly enemies in the game. And they can only be killed with those little brown pins. Also, here's a detonator, and I think I'm going to get a couple Dum-Dums with that. There we go. I'll get that one, too. Those detonators are an instant kill, by the way. Thankfully, this game does... You are allowed to take one hit before you actually die. So I manipulated another fork here, so I'm going to use it here. And basically, I'm just using the forks to get a little bit of extra score. And also to help clearing out a lot of the enemies. Extra life preservation is very, very key in this run. So I'm going to be trying to build up as many lives as I can, because there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of RNG in this game. I think 22 is what I wanted to aim for there. So, what do I mean by that? Well, on every floor, you have the same number of enemies, and they always appear in the same order. And you also have the same weapons available to you, and the floor's layouts are always the same. The problem is where everything spawns is completely random. So sometimes you can be looking for something and just not be able to find it. Like a certain power-up or whatnot. And also, there are certain levels with random heart locations, and I just accidentally found the fork there, so that's not a huge deal. Although I do have to find a pin, like, now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to do some crazy dodging here, so... The special items also appear at random times, and that time I just wasn't expecting it. They can only appear in empty boxes, though. Okay, there hopefully should be a pin in one of these boxes. Okay, I think I should be good. There's definitely going to be a pin in this box. Yeah, here we go. There we go. That was a little sketchy, but I made it work, and I didn't take a hit. Also, there can be more than 4 vials on a floor, and the hearts can also appear in random positions. And so sometimes that can cause some issues. 41, I need to wait for 3 seconds. So those card enemies you saw earlier are the trumps. Go ahead and get your jokes out of the way now. They're actually pretty difficult enemies. They can only be killed with the fire, and they can shoot a bunch of arrows at a time, and so they're pretty difficult when you get in close range with them, because sometimes they can just spawn a bunch of arrows right in your face. So, and then these enemies you've seen before, I didn't talk about them before, those are the tanks. They're the first projectile shooting enemies you encounter. They can only be killed with the bombs, and as far as, like, just generally clearing out stuff, the bombs are, like, the most OP thing in the game, because as you can see, they just clear out hordes of item boxes. And I've already taken 1 hit, and the game is not spawning the fork anywhere, which is not bad. This is a pretty wide open floor. Okay, there we go. So now I gotta grab a pin here, and boop. So that'll take care of all those enemies. And then since this is, again, a pretty wide open space, I got plenty of room to kind of outmaneuver all the enemies. So, all those RNG factors, combined with the fact that this game is, that lives are given out at a premium in this game, it makes this a very tough game to get a 1cc of. It's a pretty cool game casually, but it's terrible when you have to go for a clear. Alright. I'll get a shirt on the next level, so I will get that 1 hit back. But of course, where the shirt spawns is random, and it's right there, so we're good. So this floor is a pretty easy floor, because all we have are dum-dums and high-die. And both enemies can be killed with the same weapon type, so for starters I'm going to use my bombs to clear out as many boxes as I can. And you may have noticed, okay, this is not good, I just made a really stupid decision there. Okay, we made it work. You may have noticed that I also have 2 of the 7 and 2 of the star cards. I'm actually, if you get 3 of a kind, you unlock a special ability that has the ability to kill every type of enemy, including an enemy we'll see on the next floor. And because of that very particular type of enemy, I actually want to preserve 2 7s and 2 stars for those floors, which is why I kind of skipped the ones in the last 2 levels. So. We'll be seeing that guy in just a second. Okay, I could have gone in at 31 there, but I missed my window, so I'm going to have to wait for 22 seconds now. Typically, it's every 9 seconds that you have to go in order to get the special item you want. Oh, trust me, I'm having to improvise a lot of times. You can kind of formulate a base strategy for every floor, but sometimes you kind of have to go off script. So that big wizard guy is known as Mahu. I don't know how to pronounce that. You cannot kill him with any of the regular weapons, so you either need 3 7s or 3 stars, and he's kind of a big deal to kill because he's worth 5,000 points. And also I got the fork in a not great location. Also, even though he is pretty slow, he does fire a lot. Right, so the way this game handles extra lives is actually kind of annoying. Because, as you just saw there, extra lives are awarded every 20 or every 15,000 points, but after you cross the score threshold, you need to go on to the next floor, and then a Rally X special flag spawns that lets you collect it. And Not the best system. So, I made it through those first 7 floors without dying, which is a very, very good start. But it's not over till it's over. These bonus boxes can also be predicted, so I actually will know exactly which order the tree's apples will fall in. So, see if you can figure it out. I'll reveal it eventually, but for this first one, I want to see if you can figure out how I knew which tree's apples were going to drop. And I'm actually going to be getting a fork on this level too, so that might be interesting. So this floor introduces the robots, which can only be killed by the bolts, which are the little lightning-looking things. The annoying thing about this power-up is that it actually stuns every other type of enemy temporarily, which can be useful, but it can also kind of screw you over if you do it at the wrong time. So I'm not actually going to be kind of looking for the fork here. If I do happen to get it, that's great, but I'm mostly just going to be kind of trying to clear everything out. It's very, very important to not get ahead of yourself in this game, because that's when you start screwing up and making big mistakes. Also, thankfully, you can shoot out enemy projectiles. Okay, let's take your view. And I didn't get the fork, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, let's grab that. Oh, I can use it here. Okay, let's move on. So I need to wait for 19 seconds. There are other special items, and I'll get to those later. But for now, we're moving on to Box 10, which in my opinion has the 2 worst enemies in the game. We have the Trumps, which I've already talked about, but then we also have the Osuru, which are the little monkey guys. They can just randomly back up, and so their movement is basically impossible to predict. Alright, I got the fork very quickly here, which is going to be good in case because I'm inevitably going to have to use it to get myself out of a tricky situation. Alright. Okay. Okay. So the Osuru can only be killed with the, you probably don't know what those things are. Those are just springs. Okay. So now all the Trumps are gone, which means, now all the Osuru are done, which means I can just use that. And then there's actually a special thing right here. I need to clear out some boxes first before I can use it, though. This is a gem box, and I believe this gives out 16, and each gem is worth 100 points, so this can also really boost your score. So fork manipulation is useful because otherwise you're going to have to spend a lot more time on each floor switching weapons. And also you just get a bunch of extra points from it, but that's kind of the main benefit for using it in this kind of setting. So it can make clearing out enemies a little bit easier, but it does also introduce another layer of randomness because you have to actually find the darn thing, and sometimes it just does not want to show up. This is a pretty easy floor, provided everything goes smoothly, and it has a shirt, so it's a pretty safe one. Thankfully I got the fork right away, so I'm not gonna have to worry about that. Ah, okay. Don't know what just happened there, but we're good. Okay, let's grab this. And then I'm gonna wait for these 2 Trumps to get over here, and then there we go. Alright. It's not a huge deal because there's a shirt in this level too. There's another gem box here I can grab, but I have to set off that detonator first, otherwise it would get in the way. I'm just gonna go ahead and exit. I would really like a second star at some point, but it doesn't really matter right now. So I am actually not going to be manipulating a fork here. In fact, I'm actually going to see, I don't know if this will work or not, but I exited 2 seconds earlier than I otherwise would have. So now my 2 digits add up to 5. And if they add up to 5 or 15, you get an invincibility flower. And as you can tell from the layout of this floor, I am very much going to want that. Because there's a lot of dead ends, and the enemies are really terrifying to deal with when there are dead ends. It doesn't seem like I got it anywhere over there, but that just means it'll have to be on the right side of the maze. And I'm also going to try to manipulate an invincibility flower for the next box as well. So the fact that I have 3 hearts up there is actually kind of bad. But if I get the invincibility flower... Okay, here we go. So this actually lasts for a really long time, so it's very useful to have. And I'll pretty much go... whenever I can manipulate it, I'll usually try to manipulate it whenever I don't really want to manipulate the fork. So now I just gotta try to make sure I end my stage with the correct score values. That's not quite what I want, so I'm probably gonna have to bumble around a little bit longer. I don't necessarily need it, but I would really very much like it. Okay. I have the time to waste, so that's why I'm kind of trying to do that. Okay, that'll give me a fork, which could be useful, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave. Actually, no, I'm taking one of these. I wanted to also leave the stage with a bolt so I could stun enemies at the start of this box. This is a deceptively hard level. The enemies are not easy to deal with. There's a lot of boxes that usually don't contain anything useful, so I'm actually not going to be going for a clear here. And thankfully I did get the flower, so now I don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to kind of just... If I were doing like an actual score attempt, I would go for clearing all the enemies, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to get in and get out. Because this is a marathon, and I'd actually like to finish the game. Alright, let's see what kind of score I can end with here. Alright, I can get a fork from that, so we're just going to get out. And then in this floor, we have a little heart-shaped thing here. Also, there are a bunch of obstacles in some of the boxes, like you saw. There's the punching bags, there's the claws that can take off a piece of your clothing. So you kind of have to... Those are in static position, so you can memorize them. Alright, I'm really hoping I can find a second star here, because then I won't have to worry about not getting one for box 15. Because box 15 is kind of a big point in the run. So, my first order of business is to try to clear out all the enemies. I'm gonna kind of wait for all the cars to get out of the way, and then we're gonna go ahead and do that. Very glad I got the fork there. Alright, I'm gonna try to get some of these. Oh, I could have gotten a couple more of those. So now I'm gonna kind of carve around in the boxes to see if I can find a second star. There's a couple of gem boxes I can get on this floor, but I'm gonna ignore those for right now. Okay, we're good. So now I'm guaranteed to be able to kill Mahu on the next floor. I'm also gonna go ahead and get this. Oh, I didn't get all of them, but whatever. And now I kind of have to book it because I'm very low on time. And if you run out of time, the walls will also close in on you. Okay, go. Okay, I'm fine. Just gotta do that. And, okay. I cut it a little bit close there, but I'm good. So here's why this next box is fun. We have almost every unique kind of enemy plus Mahu, and the layout of this floor is just terrible. And I got very bad item luck to start. So this is gonna be interesting. Okay. The game allowed me to salvage it. And here we go. So once I get this, I'm basically home free, because now every enemy can die. And I can get the 5,000 points for killing Mahu. There we go. So I do kind of have to be careful because while the star does last for a pretty long time, it doesn't last forever. So I have to make sure that... Okay, I just almost completely... Okay, I just kind of wasn't paying attention there for like 2 seconds. Alright, so that tank... If I don't get that tank, I might just ignore it. Alright, I barely got it in time. So, now all the enemies are dead. I, like, briefly stopped looking at the screen at one point. Alright, so, I normally would like to leave this floor with a bomb, but I kind of used up the 2 bombs already, so I'm just going to leave with the bolt instead. Because that's probably the second best thing for me to do here. First 2 sets of floors without dying. Now that's back pretty good for a marathon. Because I'll be getting an extra life, not on the next box, because that's a bonus box. The bonus boxes are every 8th level. And, again, I want you to see if you can figure out how I know which tree is going to fall in which order. Alright, so I'm actually going to be getting another fork on this level. I don't know if I'll necessarily use it, but we'll see when it shows up. Alright, I have to be careful with the empty boxes. Okay, let's get rid of this robot first. And hopefully not die to the detonators. Okay. I would really much like to find a pen right now. There we go. So a big portion of this level is just alternating between Dum-Dums and Ulceru. So you kind of have to have the right weapons at the right times. Fortunately, you do have an abundance of each weapon type, but again, sometimes the game just doesn't like to give it to you. There we go. And I still have enough weapons to get rid of the rest of the enemies. Kind of sketchy, but made it work. I'll use that fork later, maybe. The robot's probably going to make it all the way over here. Alright. Now I need to find all the hearts. And I'm probably not going to be able to do special item manipulation here, because I'm probably going to run out of time. Actually, no, we're good. Let's see, though. Oh, I need to go in, like, now. Alright. So now we have another level with 3 different enemies that all require different weapons to defeat, and, the layout of this floor is yet again kind of inconvenient, because there's, like, big sections that are just blocked off. And there's our fork. So again, to kind of reiterate how I'm manipulating those, it's all dependent on your score when you enter a floor. So I'm manipulating I'm basically manipulating my score to have specific values whenever I enter a new floor. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use this now. Fortunately, the robots are also kind of easy to juke because they stop for a very brief period before they fire a projectile. Okay. So right there, I'm using the ability of the bolt to stun the cars. Okay. And now the only enemies left are cars, which is relatively easy to deal with. Might be able to manipulate an item here, so I'll be ending with a score of 95. Or 05. Okay, I'm good. So, I'm gonna again manipulate a fork for this floor, but I don't know if I'm actually gonna end up using it. Because I'm probably not gonna be going for a full clear here, because... Okay, so now we get to one of the more annoying aspects of this game. So this is the very first floor, where there's an enemy type on this floor, but not the weapon that you have to use to kill it. In this case, the trumps are on this floor, but there's no flame cards. So, in order to get a full clear on this level, you basically have to either use a triad, which, as I said before, I want to reserve for levels that have Mahou, or you just have to use a fork. So, I'm probably just gonna... And I got that hard RNG, so I have to go all the way down here. Alright. Let's get rid of you. Yeah, let's go ahead and use that, because that'll get some of the enemies out of my way. Okay, I'm gonna take a hit here. I'll be getting an extra life on this floor, so this is another floor with a weapon, but with an enemy, but not the weapon you need to kill it. This time it's the Osuru. So, luckily they don't spawn for a fair amount of time, but I do have the robots to deal with, and the robots are also kind of annoying, especially when you don't have a bolt. So, I'm probably gonna die, but that's okay, because it's it would be my first death anyways. There, whatever. That's my first death, so it's not a huge deal. I don't like where that thing... I don't like where I stunned that guy. So I'm just gonna wait for it to move and then stun it again. Alright, get you out of the way. And then, yeah, here's the problem, because, alright, we're good. And thankfully, I already have the, 2 7s and 2 stars, so I don't need to worry about that for the rest of this set. Yeah, I'm just gonna go. Not gonna bother trying to manipulate special items. And I actually want to say, I think that's the farthest I've ever made it on a single credit without dying once, so that's actually impressive. Of course, my score isn't all that great, but, you know, that's to be expected. Alright, so I actually kind of want there to be pins on this side of the maze, but there just aren't, so that's not great. So I'm gonna have to take a bit of a YOLO to the... I'm gonna have to kind of YOLO my way to the other side of the maze and hope I can find what I need. Okay. So if you don't notice, it's very subtle, but you've probably noticed that the enemies are actually kind of speeding up, which is another sort of difficulty aspect to this game, is that the enemies get faster, so it's a lot harder to outmaneuver them. Also, that level was in the shape... This level's in the shape of a Galaxian flagship. It's not it anymore, but... And, actually, special item manipulation doesn't matter for this next floor, because there are no empty boxes on this next floor. So you couldn't get a special item to spawn, even if you wanted to. But this floor is also terrible, because every heart is in a dead end, and there's 2 different types of enemies. And you have to be switching between the 2 weapon types in order to kill them. And, of course, the game only gave me 1 bolt here. So now I gotta do I have to do, like, a run of faith over here. And now I'm at the mercy of the trumps. So I might have to take another hit or death here. This is not a situation I'm used to on this floor. Okay, I think I can salvage it. But we'll have to see. Okay, so that's the last robot. And alright, I don't know how I made that work. Okay, I just got hit, but that's okay. There's a shirt on the next floor. I don't know how I made that work, but that was pretty nice. So you don't actually need to go for clearing all the enemies on every floor, and as you've noticed, I've already skipped a bunch. It just gives you a small bonus. But in a lot of cases, it's actually beneficial, because sometimes you really can't navigate the level until you have everything cleared out. Right. So 23, I want to wait for 3. So next floor is going to be another Mahou level, but thankfully I will be able to properly kill it. So now I just need to find either the third 7 or the third star. I don't think we've actually seen the 3-7 ability yet. So I'm gonna have to carve around the level for a little bit until I find it. And hopefully not get hit, because I don't have my shirt. And I immediately eat my words. Whatever. Second death. So this is what I'm talking about with the game just kind of not wanting to give you what you need sometimes. Alright, there's the shirt in case I need it. Come on. Yeah, literally the very last box I checked has the star. That happens frequently. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to RNG in this game, and that's the reason why this game can be so luck dependent. Okay, let me try and get an empty box to see if I can get a fork to appear. It's not usually if I don't get it. Okay, the fork will probably appear in this one. And boop! Oh, and I apparently have all the hearts. So let's make the most of what I can from this gem box. So here's how I am predicting the, here's how I'm predicting the bonus boxes. So the left, middle, and right trees correspond to the thousands, hundreds, and tens digits of your score. And it basically just goes from whichever has the lowest digit to whichever has the highest. So there it starts at 4, and then here's 5. And then the tens digit of my score is 8, so this tree will drop last. So that's how you manipulate the special boxes. And now we get into some of the hardest floors in the game. So this first floor has dum-dums but no pins, which is terrible. Fortunately, the dum-dums are pretty late into the enemy roster in this floor. But I'm just letting you know that's going to be a very common theme, is there's going to be a lot of floors with dum-dums but no pins. And I got the jet boots, which requires you to have either a 12 or 2 as your score. They're pretty much useless, but it can let you outmaneuver enemies a little bit, but there's not really a whole lot of point to them. I'm actually gonna see if I can grab that third 7, because the next floor is one of the hardest levels in the game, because it's another floor with dum-dums but no pins, and the dum-dums spawn right away. So let's clear out all this, and we're just gonna get out. And I'm just gonna probably breeze my way through this level, because I really don't want to be in here for any longer than I have to. Alright, I might have gotten a third 7 here anyways, but it was better to not risk it. Okay, so I would like to end this level with a spring. And I already have all the parts, so I'm just gonna get out. And then here we finally have all the weapons needed to defeat all the enemies again, but there's a lot of boxes to check. And so, again, you might have to scramble around for a while to find power-ups. So, I did get a end the score with my score summing up to it, with the relevant digit summing up to a 5. So, hopefully the invincibility flower spawns in case I need it. But I also got insanely good weapon RNG, so I might not actually need it. Yeah, that was insanely good weapon RNG. It usually takes way longer than that to find all the weapons you need. But I found them all, like, right away. Which is extremely rare. This run is... I don't want to jinx anything, because again, it's never over till it's over with this game, but this has been going insanely well. Like, score-wise, it's actually not been all that good, but as far as, like, life preservation goes, it's been just incredible. Alright. So that's all the enemies. Now I want to get one of these bombs. And with any luck, I can get the invincibility flower right before I have to leave. Alright, so I'm gonna grab that on my way out to make this next floor a little bit easier. And I'm not going to be able to manipulate a special item here, so whatever. Or I wouldn't have been able to manipulate a fork, because at 60, I think it was at 60, I don't remember what it was at, but the timer was already past the point it would have needed to be at. But I have the invincibility flower. This is another kind of tricky floor. Because you do have all the weapons needed, but there's not a whole lot of them. And every part of the level is very just sectioned off in inconvenient ways. So I might actually forego going for a full clear on this floor just to make my life a little bit more manageable. But now the dum-dums have spawned, so I instantly take that back. Fortunately, there's only 4 of them. And they only come up in one wave. Alright, this is interesting. Let's do that. I think I made some rather poor choices. Okay, I'm gonna... Yeah, I really don't want to grab that 7, so I'm just gonna let it disappear. And now we're gonna make our way over here, because I need to get that last heart. The trumps are dead. And I can get this bomb, which will let me take care of the last few tanks. Okay, that somehow worked out. This next floor is another really hard floor because there are trumps and dum-dums, but no flames or pins. So getting a perfect clear here is almost impossible without a 3 of a kind. And also the letters just spell out Toy Pop. Okay, that is not good because now I basically have to get 3 7s for the Mahu kill. So if I get a 7 card on this floor, I'll probably just take it and get out. Yeah, I have to take it. So this is not a great situation to be in because the 7 does not last very long. So I'm gonna try to get the Mahu kill as early as possible. I was able to manipulate I didn't actually manipulate it, I just kind of got lucky with my score. I will be able to get the invincibility flower here, so that'll help a little bit, but I'm probably gonna die at some point. Yeah. This is a yeah, this floor has robots, but no pins, and I think it... Okay, here we go. Here's the invincibility flower. Alright, so I can pretty much breeze my way through the rest of this level now. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave. So I'm gonna manipulate a 5 to... I'm gonna manipulate a 5 for this next one, which means I'm gonna need to get 6 apples. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just need 2 more. 5, 6. So, yeah, I didn't get many points from there, but that's just because I really, really want a flower for this next level. Even though I already have one, I want another one. Because we, once again, have dum-dums, but no pins. And, as you can tell, this level's layout also sucks. And the dum-dums have already spawned, and I don't have the flower yet. It should just be one of these 2 boxes, though. Alright, we're good. I also want this extra life. Alright. Alright, we'll just leave with that. Next floor has all the enemy types, but this time we have all the weapon types. And I'm also going to be able to get a fork here. And of course I didn't get it right away. Since I still have invincibility, I can kind of work with this. Boom. Alright, we're good. Now I need to find a pin, because the dum-dums are going to be spawning very soon. There we go. Okay, whatever. The game field is just a giant grid, so it is very easy to be facing the wrong direction at the wrong time. And it feels a lot smoother on the PS1 version. I don't know if that's just because of input latency or whatever, but, yeah, it's very easy to not maneuver the way you intended to, and then you get cornered by enemies, and then you just die, and that's really bad, obviously. I'd honestly say Draga might be more brutal than this, but it really depends on how you look at it. Alright. 87... means I have to wait for 12. And there we go. Thankfully, we get a bit of a breather for the next floor. Because we have three... It's a very wide open space, and then the two characters... And the box is also spelled out Pino and Akka, which are the names of the two player characters. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet. I don't think I have. And also, you just get a bunch of bombs. Okay. I would very much like to get that shirt, so I'm gonna try to wait to juke some of these enemies. Maybe. Okay, we're good. So let's try to get the fork to appear. I got a little bit of time to spare. And of course it's going to be in the last box I'd shack, because why wouldn't it be? But thankfully there's only 2 dum-dums left, so... That was pretty easy. Okay, here is where it kind of really boils down to getting lucky. So, these next few floors, in an actual, like, serious score attempt, are extremely crucial, because they're very hard to get through on a solid run. So, again, this is another case I'm doing fork manipulation, but I probably won't use it, unless I have to. So, are all 3 hearts up here? Nope, just one of them is. So, this is actually not a good situation. So, I'm gonna carve around in here and see if I can find the other 2 hearts. I did not see that bullet until it was too late. Alright, let's just get out of here. And I happen to end with the 2 digits summing up to a 5, so I get the invincibility flower here, which is really good. I could very much use that on this floor, because again, we have 6 of the 7 enemy types. And you do get all the weapons here, it's just highly inconvenient. So, I'm gonna take the safety net. Hopefully the other 2 hearts are up here. And wouldn't you know it, they're not. Okay. Not the worst RNG I could have gotten. And I'm gonna try to leave with the flame. And goodbye. And here's the last level to have pins. And yes, there are still floors with dum-dums after this one, so yeah, you can do the math. Okay, thankfully I got a pin right away. So, I'd like to keep, there's 2 of each weapon type, at least for the enemies on the floor in this level. And, okay, I'm just gonna take the death. I got plenty of lives. Although, I am not too happy with this enemy placement right now. Okay, thank goodness that robot's an idiot. Okay, so this is not the greatest position to be in right now, but I think I can work with it. So let's get this last heart here. Grab that, even though it's probably going to be a bad idea. And I'm gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna forego my ability to kill the robot, to kill that last trump. I don't need a perfect clear here anyways. And I really want to leave with the pen. So I'm basically hoping I get a 7 on this next floor. Because if I don't, then it's not great. So, again, there's no pins on this floor, so that's why I had to leave with one. Because we start with dum-dums. And again, I'm just... Oh, and I didn't mean to grab that, but whatever. Okay, let's get this. So, if I see a star here, then that's not the end of the world, but yeah, that's kind of what I expected. So, as far as this floor is concerned, that's not a huge deal. I just won't be able to get the bonus from killing all the enemies. I'm amazed I didn't get hit there. Alright, let's play this in a smart fashion. I might have to tank a death here, but we'll see. Okay, also we're being idiots right now. Alright, we're good. And just get out of here. Alright, this is the last bonus box of the run. So I'm going into the final 4 floors with 4 lives in reserve, which is pretty good. Or 3 lives in reserve, which is pretty good, but... it, of course, could be a bit better. Okay, I'm probably just gonna zoom my way through here, because I don't really need to be in here. Alright. Oh, and I got a 4. Might as well take use of it. And goodbye. Alright. Let's see how these last few go. There's a shirt on this floor I can get, and there it is. And jet boots, which aren't really useful at this stage in the game, but we'll take it. And... you know, I have the lives to do it, I might as well try to clear all the enemies. That was really stupid. And since I have 2 7s and 2 stars, the next floor is pretty much going to be a freebie, most likely. Okay, I'm probably going to die, but whatever. Okay, I can get that last spring over there. This sorcerer doesn't kill me. Alright. Let's see, 71. Yeah, it's not gonna mean anything, so I'm just gonna go. I would have had to wait like 18 seconds to get the special item I wanted, and that just isn't enough time. Alright, so here I can... if I find the 3rd 7 or 3rd star here, I'm pretty much home free. Because the only weapons you get on this floor are bombs. And obviously that's not going to be good against any of these 3 weapon type, any of these 3 enemy types. Also, that Trump hunts you down like an absolute freaking madman. Okay. So I'd really like to get to that 7. But this Trump is... alright, there we go. I'm gonna clear out as many enemies as I can until this thing runs out, and then I'm probably just gonna leave the level. I'm gonna get an extra life in the next level, too. I don't think I'll be able to get all of them, though, because, yeah, the star just ran out. And I'm dead, probably. Okay. Now I just gotta make it all the way to the door. And if I don't get a 1cc off of this, then I'm just bad at the game. Because I have a bunch of lives to spare. So this is the final boss, Majo. You need to find the 8 hearts in order to... this is like the only consistent level in the entire game. because the 8 hearts are always in the same positions, and there's no other enemies. Okay, and you can pretty easily juke Majo out by just hiding behind the corner of a box, like this, and then letting him do a full circle. And this should be the last heart. Alright, there we go. That was a lot better than I thought it would be. Not the greatest run score-wise, but I got insanely lucky that run. Like I said, this is a very tough game. A lot of things could and probably would have ended that. Just from not being able to find weapons in the right times and just getting horribly assaulted by the enemies, but that was extremely clean. So, yeah. Thank you, RGLTV, as always, for letting me bring this back. Glad I got to do a new run now that I know how to manipulate special items and other stuff. And that's Toy Pop. So hopefully you enjoyed that run, and it's a very daunting game to try and learn how to 1cc. But I'd say casually, if you're not going for it, full clear, this is a pretty fun game. Definitely an underrated one, so definitely check this one out. It's one of the more obscure Namco arcade titles, but I think you might find it enjoyable. And that's it for me.